Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 7 of the Shiloh Institute's Cease for Peace Now campaign. Tonight, we have a very interesting discussion for you, and it's centered around art and how the expression of art is helping to foster peace and unity around the world. So tonight, my name is Sharna Jeffers, and I have the distinct privilege of being your host for this intimate conversation with an artist. His name is Ehsan, and I'm just going to read you a little bit of his bio, and then I'm going to welcome him into the conversation. So he grew up in Sweden and moved to Iran. The artist known as Ehsan is quickly becoming one of the most important and influential artists in the world. His work embodies an unrivaled passion to bring peace for all to the light. He was born in Sweden and moved at the age of 10 to Iran, where he actually lived through the devastation of the Gulf War. He later on came to America and then experienced the devastation of 9/11. And between those two tragedies, he birthed a heart for peace and how to figure out how to foster peace. Using his father's example of kindness and peace, Isan has been able to channel that and put it into his art. He's a painter, a world renowned peace advocate, and we have the privilege of hearing more about him and his work this evening. So, Isan, welcome.
Sharna, thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. I'm humbled to be here in this moment. It is now with you and Connect. Thank you for the introductions. I'm just grateful to just be here and in the present and talk about such an important topic that is affecting every single one of us around the globe.
Agreed. And as a fellow artist, I'm actually a clothing designer. I know how important it is for you to infuse yourself into your work. And so for you to have an eye, have a heart, have a mind for peace is amazing. And for you to use your talent to be able to help foster that in this world in for such a time as this. I mean, this is just wonderful. So we're honored. Thank you. So let's jump right in. Um, my first question for you is what has inspired you to create artwork centered around peace? We know a little bit in your bio that you grew up and had experienced the Gulf War and had also experienced 9/11. And between those two, you just knew that you had to do something. So tell us more about that and how the themes around your work.
I was about 4 or 5 years old, born and raised in Sweden, Iranian parents. I don't look Swedish. I remember when I was around 4 years old, 5 years old, I think around those age, and my parents said, "Let's go visit Grandpa." We go visit Iran, Grandpa's house. Everything just incredible, joyful. I'm just this little spoiled little, you know, grandchildren, one of the grandchildren out there and just having an amazing time and a fun time. And I'll never forget one of those midnight, everybody get up, we go on top of the roof, and then we see the Iraqi plane are bombing the city.
Wow.
That traumatic experience led through this little Ehsan at that age a journey of starting asking deeper questions. What was that? Why? And human history, as we know to now, has been ongoing, repeating itself. It's just mind blowing. And we live in this time and era that we call ourselves modern human, the
Mm.
modern human community. And still, this is being repeated. Look what's going on in Israel and Gaza, what's going on in Ukraine. And we're talking about AI and the technology and how evolved we are. And that why led me to ask a reverse question. I said, forget about why. We all probably have some answers.
Mm.
We all know in one way or another. Is there a how? Is there a way that humanity, for the first time, as we know in the history, comes to a point tipping point that global peace, everlasting peace, is going to be part of our manifestations. I mean, look, there's so many possibilities that 150 years ago to now, or 1,000 years to now, look what that has happened. Is there a way? And what is that way? I was in my early 20s. The only thing that I was good at was art. Anything else, don't ask. The only thing I had A+ was art.
Skills to have art.
And the answer became so clear. And I was always passionate about spirituality. You know, I always was in the quest and thirsty, and a religious organization and so forth. Um, the answer was so easy when you tune up from your heart.
Mm.
The answer is oneness, one human family. We all connected, no matter where I'm coming from, no matter what my background, gender, ethnicity, cultural, religion, status, no matter what. We all are one human family. When we truly, authentically recognize that and see that, you just don't stick a knife to your brother and sister. You just don't do that. And we even use our intelligence. Let's just use our imaginations. If there was alien attacking planet Earth right now, would Ukraine and Russia unite, or would they still kill each other?
Mm.
Palestine and Israel, we all will come. Unity is the answer. It's so clear. It's so loud at current time. And that became so clear to me. And I want to paint it that.
Mm.
And art is an international language.
It
And look at all of these masterpieces. Look at the Sistine Chapels. Look at the Mona Lisas. And look at all of these pyramids and all of these. What kind of impact they have made. And I took that opportunity. I was just guided, said, I want to paint this message in such a large scale that when people sees it, nobody gonna miss it. And for the last 21 years, I was in this journey and an adventure of creating 2,000 paintings, large one, 42 by 42. And you wouldn't put them together, it turns to this huge, large 17-story of a peace painting and much more. And I invite T to kind of share some of that slider and kind of it demonstrate, give you some visuals. If you just keep slowly go to the next page and on and on. This is me 21 years ago. Back then I had hair. I evolved. And I just said, I'm going to start paint. I want to go crazy. Let's just paint. And then all I knew, and then I was guided to create all of these abstract faces. An artist has to be innovative. And a true artist creates something that was never created. These are the things that my teachers used to teach me and planted at sea. So I just kind of use spirituality with art. If you keep going to the next page, I start to fill up the whole house. Go to the next page, and there's pictures of how everything got evolved.
Mm.
T, you can keep going. This is a tennis court. Like about 4 years later, I just started putting 900 of these paintings together.
Wow.
All of these.
So do you use oil? Tell us a little bit about, is it acrylic? Is it like whatever you feel at the time and you just kind of grab your materials and just get to work?
In the beginning, I had nothing. I just had a paper. And I started out of nothingness, and then just universe just brought me. My dad became my, the supply. He was the one who's sponsoring the whole thing when he saw him. So I'm painting 18 hours a day and so forth. It all started with a watercolor paper, mixed media, acrylic. As you go to the next page, there's some.
And I think that's important to note, because as people later on, we're going to talk, ask people to be a little introspective and try to find a way on their own to foster peace creatively, right? We see these large installations. You're showing us your amazing work that has turned into 2,000 double-sided works that create a masterwork. And it started with watercolors. It started very humbly, which I think.
Yeah, the first 40 painting was on a paper print.
That's
and
amazing.
I just had a stack of pencil and watercolor.
That's
And I started
amazing.
showing that how serious I am
Mm.
when there's this consistency, there's this passion, the conviction, and the faith, and then drive. You keep taking another step, and it's action, and just keep taking actions. This creation started.
Amazing.
So there's over 1,766, no, actually 1,670 abstract faces. All of these are sharing the roller coaster of human life.
Mm.
And they all come in groups. They all have a mother as the 9 babies. This kind of shows how they are kind of in group together systematically. There's 167 groups. And then it shows the ups and the down. This one, it shows connection, going through the bitterness and the sweetness and the up, and then starting kind of finding love, finding a connection. And if you keep going, this is one of the last groups that there is a quote over here in English. It says, "The children of Adam are limbs to each other, having been created of one essence." It's a very famous quote by Sadi. He's a Persian Shakespeare, and this quote is actually United Nation entry door mentioning that. So Obama, when he was said Happy Persian New Year, and I was so touched, and I said this needs to be part of a collection. One of the last groups shows the humanity as its capacity, has this infinite intelligence with the brain and radiating, the hand and the feet radiating with strength, and can achieve anything, can take any action, but the core is made of infinite love, no matter what.
Let's talk about that because I've noticed in some of your work there is a lot of repeat imagery and symbolism. Say the infinity sign, hearts. So talk about some of the motifs that you use in your work as well.
Of course. Now I'll explain that in a minute.
Okay.
You keep going to the next page of it. This is the last group. After 1,670 abstract faces through going through ups and downs, the conclusion is here. He's knocking on all the doors.
Mm.
The only door that truly opened was the heart. You got to
Mm.
go back again to you. And that's where he finds serenity and peace. That's where peace comes from, that inner peace. Anything that is love attribute, anything that is, that's why I use the love sign with infinity in middle, infinite love, unconditional love, anything that is love based, from faith, from enthusiasm, excitement, and positivity. All of these come from the heart chakra. And it's from us, it's from our soul. And so that's where we find peace. Any type of action, service, charity, all love based. So that's kind of what the final was. And then I was just, okay, God, now what do you want me to do? How is the peace painting coming together? I was guided to start framing these. This is an example.
Mhm.
If you go to the next pages, here, some of them are framed with white stripes. The white stripe is a part of a puzzle. And then keep going to the next page. And here's one that is framed. Next page, 25 painting. That painting is right in the middle. And then next page, 225 painting. You see some of these flags are introduced. And then next page shows 2,000 paintings together. That little arrow over there, that was that one painting. So this is literally a 17-story tall.
Wow. Incredible.
When you see it from distance. You see all of these abstract faces, all countries, when they become one, you see this ancient peace sign, the Holy Spirit, the dove, the olive branch, and with the flags, you see the contemporary peace sign. The message is right there. When we all become one, we will see everlasting peace.
So that was beautiful. And you can tell that your spirituality is just radiating into your work. Um, do you have any cultural influences? Talk a little bit about how your background influences your interpretation of peace and unity and how you use that in your work.
I when I was a kid, I was really attracted to spirituality and born and raised in Sweden, so it was a very peaceful environment, and there was no turmoil or anything. You don't see any homeless people. It's pretty quiet. So from that perspective and experiencing, and a lot of people are very educated, but there was racism. I experienced racism and it's a horrible experience. So God wanted me to experience it, have understanding what that means. And then my parents finished their education, and the vision was to go back to Iran when they got the PhDs and doctorate and so forth. So I was 10 years old. We went to Iran, and over there was, just a post-war. The war was just over with Iraq, so there was a lot of recovery. There was a lot of corruption. There was a lot of negativity, energy, and sadness, and grief, and mourning, and the new the whole the new system, and the government, and Islamic, and then men and females and males in schooling are separated. It was weird for me. And woman has to have cover, so you experience that, but also you experience such an incredible family connection. There's this deep, and there's another group of people that are very into spirituality, and they don't really focus on politics and everything. You see that, and the welcomeness. So I saw that, and the poetry of Iran and the Sufism is something that I was really gravitated, like Rumi. There is this side of Islam that is Sufism, is mysticism, and we see, it has made a lot of impact globally, and that's what I was gravitated to. So, and then when I was a child, I experienced from a personal level that there is a higher self. There is something that is running the show when you communicate with it, and I've been in this journey. So from the art that you see, they are very contemporary. You see Cubism, you see modern, you see Impressionism.
You're like the Picasso of peace almost.
It's very Cubism, like Picasso-ish in many ways. I'm just very passionate creating, but when you look at Picasso, it's Picasso's work. Andy Warhol, Andy Warhol, and I created my work in a way. When you see Ehsan, it is Ehsan's work, and we built. So that's kind of, but there's been a lot of influence, from anywhere from artistic side. There's these big artists in the history. You look at Michelangelo, we look at Leonardo da Vinci, all the way to current, modern time, Picasso, Dali, these individuals, and Dali, and there's a current artist that is actually alive right now as well. What kind of impact they make? So there's been international experience. I mean, I never, I was born, raised in Sweden, Swedish, European, and then going Iranian heritage all the way to America. And I've been here since '98 and living in South Orange County. And is by far, you see so much opportunity, and you see the American dreams and so forth. So, yeah, it's a combination of all.
So I know it's very obvious after this discussion, certainly, but what message do you hope to convey through your art in the context of even the Cease for Peace Now campaign that we're in the middle of?
Here's what we're doing. T, if you go back to the slideshow, all this 2000 painting has a front side. And then when you go to the next page of it, they all have a back side. This painting from the back side, you just see something and feel like, bluish and everything. But next page shows all the 2000 from the back side. You create another master painting, which is Infinite Love covering planet Earth.
Wow.
And if you keep going fast, T, just keep moving faster. I just start talking about the mission statement. These are all art. It has a lot of derivative. It has the mission. I keep going, T. We have the eye. We have the three hearts. We have the olive branch and the country flags. The vision, if you go to the next page, I digitally designed it. Those are the only one I did not hand paint. And the vision is we want to invite top artists of the world, living artists of the world from each country to come and paint their own flags. We're going to have 272 artists to paint and complete this masterpiece. And we're going to display to the world. We're going to come artists in unity and action. That's one of the next levels that we do. If you go to the next page and go to the next one, what you guys doing is just compatible what I am doing, and we are kindled spirited, and I'm just honored to be part of it. I mean, the biggest problems that's going around the world we're literally on, experiencing wars and conflicts. There's a nuclear race going on. The Hollywood, with all these action movies, keep popping up. Decent, it's just like normal killing and shooting. From psychological level all the way to media. You get heartburn. Just watch media for 20 minutes. News. Like there's so much negativity. What the solution is really what you guys are doing. So many people, organizations are coming together. Is really come together in unity. And what I was being guided and what my team is, we want to promote it through this art masterpiece. If you go to the next page, team, this is the work. And we want to build its statue. If you go to the next page, and we want to build this unity and peace centers across the world. A center going to have all of these programs from anywhere from international multicultural centers, representation of all countries, languages. And we're going to have a spiritual centers, interfaith programs, meditation, arts, music, concert, artists. There's so much talent out there. All non-profit organization, and then like a beautiful nature and all the menus of the words. A theme, a space that you can go in there. You can see the world's largest peace painting, and inside of it, going to have all of those activities that we can actually we can expand this message, a place that people can come there, get inspired, and a monumental place and plant a seed. There's so many Walmarts, there's so many Kmarts, there's so many Ikeas. Why not build something like this starting right here in America, in California? We are finding a land and we're going to multiply it in every country. The more we promote peace, the more I can only imagine international language, which is art, what kind of impact it can do, but actually putting into action. We are building a brand to inspire peace and give to charities. That's kind of what it is, and become a platform, a facilitator, and bring people together and just demonstrate that through unity, peace is possible. That's ultimately what this is about.
So in about 3 years, the eyes of the world will be on California, right where we are, because of the Olympics. And I cannot wait to see what sort of installation you have built out for that time, because I know you're working towards something great.
Yes.
So how do you engage with your audience through your art? You have such a strong message that the world needs to hear. And I do know that you do give your work to nonprofits to help promote the idea of peace and unity. But what is a way that your audience can really get a hold of you to help further the message of peace and unity around the world?
Right now, we're doing it in multiple ways. One of them is like monthly art gala, art shows. We have live music, we have dinner, free dinner. People can come, enjoy, experience, and I give them a tour what this whole vision and the project is about once in a month. But also we do a lot of community services. Every Mondays we have this gathering. It's called Spiritual Mastermind, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. People come in. Every Wednesdays we do meditation. Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations that people can meditate together and raise each other's vibration. And Fridays we do this gathering. It's called Abundance Manifestation Circle. It's amazing. It is a lot of spiritual games here. We come together, see how whole and perfect and blessed, and we already have everything from a spiritual standpoint. And when we tap into it, we start seeing it more and more showing up in our lives and so forth. These are the things that we are doing. And then we have social media. People can follow me virtually through social media, and people want to come to the gallery. There's like at least 3 to 4 times a week activities they can come and experience. The idea is when we come together, we can raise and continually visualize. It all started with belief. I mean, there was a time, literally, our parents, when we started discussing with them, said, "What do you mean talking about peace? It's not possible. Come on, it's part of human nature." And yada, yada, yada. But now we are noticing there's a newer generation that see, yes, of course it's possible. Of course we are worthy of it. Yes, it's worthwhile fighting for and striving for, and then just put our focus into it. So that's kind of what this Unity and Peace Gallery, and that's how I connect and continually do this until our goal is to attract the perfect investors, which we are in the middle of, and so forth, to get a bigger headquarter, and then acquire the first land and build the first center, which we're in the process of that too. So people can be involved in so many levels.
Wonderful. And so I do know that you do collaborations as well. Would you share a little bit about your collaborations and how that has enriched your own work?
Collaborations such as like doing art kind of
Yes. Yes.
project, of
Mhm.
course. I'm really passionate to support charity organization, and there's a lot of this. I reached out over 500 charity organization with my team, and I had over like 100 Zoom calls, hundreds of hours, and it was such a joy to learn so much.
Mm.
Anywhere from peace activists all the way to human rights, all the way to human trafficking. We see animal shelter, ocean. We see all kind of levels. They're just fascinating, and small to big organization. And some of them, I would love to create a unique painting. So one of them was for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Mm.
There was this artist, young little artist. He's 11 years old, and then since 8 years old he started making painting, and then people bought it. Every payment he received, he donated it to St. Jude, which he raised over probably 12,000, give or take.
Wow.
And then I found him in the news. I said, do you like to do something collaborative? And we made a painting, and that's something, is proceeds going to go to St. Jude. Another one is for children bureau that I did 4 years, little kiddos in downtown LA that are getting recovery and support from this nonprofit. We painted something beautiful together, and that painting is going to raise funds for children burial and so forth.
I love that. Inspiring the future generations. I love that. So I know when we talk about peace, it's sad to think, but there's always some level of opposition somewhere. So for a few moments, would you share with us your challenges as you seek to facilitate a global peace? And I know art is one way to sort of soften the messaging, right? So it's not so, don't talk about that at the dinner table. It's a little bit more of, here's what we're saying boldly, but without necessarily making one feel uncomfortable or not ready for the conversation. So, since we live in a very politically charged environment, I just would like to hear a little bit about the challenges you may have faced as you have tried to further the message of peace through your art.
Great question.
Mhm.
um, the challenges that I get to hear, which I don't see it as a challenge. I truly believe in bottom of my heart that our next step for humanity to evolve is global peace, everlasting peace. And it's so easy. And you know, I used to, that was the biggest challenge when I was introducing that conversation at dinner tables and so forth. Back when I was in my early 20s, and ultimately everybody said no, it's not possible. And I said, look, Oprah Winfrey. That's kind of what I said. The most successful, American African, Black African woman that is. This is just, if she can become that, and 150 years ago was slavery right here, and human history just filled with that. Look how much possibility there is, and some people said, "Son, why don't you do something about it?" And it took me a while to really own it and really listening my intuition. Yes, this is my calling, and I want to be one of those individuals. Today, what I do know, Sharna, is we need 8 billions of drops to create this ocean of global peace.
Mm.
Some of us can be rivers, some of us could be like seas, some of us could be just individual drop, but every one of us, to whatever they are being called, listen to their heart and their intent, just seeing and talking about it and taking action. My calling was just doing it through its art.
Mm.
And your calling is what you're doing right now and being a testimony of that. And so that's what I know today. And the fact there is a generation. I talked to some spiritual teachers, and I come across, and majority of them, yes, of course, I came to another person. This is just part of human nature killing, and is the animal world. But there's another side of ourselves, which is the spiritual side of ourselves, and we're really are connected into it, and we are aware of it, and then we use it from see the word, and from that dialogue, and harmony and peace is just a natural byproduct. So I really think that is the way to look at it. But I come across these challenges, and some people in my meeting just kind of object, and I love those moments, and I sit there and very compassionate and listen, and one of the things that I learned from another person that said is that, like, imagine that you go 150 years in the past, and you go talk to one of those slaves and tell them, in America, one day they're going to be freedom, the way the freedom we see it. You're going to be able to have freedom, opportunity of everything. Would that slave say, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? Or you say, oh, of course, yes, of course, I'm looking forward to it. So obviously, I'm here sharing this message that is talking about, imagine that we live in a time that global peace is part of our human nature, part of our reality. How amazing would that be? And that's what is 2000 painting. That's what all of my efforts has been. And by start believing it, you were accepting, and by start accepting it and believing, you will start attracting it. And ultimately, because it's part of our nature, it is something that God wants all of His children ultimately live in. And I believe we are just in the beginning of a cusp of there grassroots level that is happening already. This could be one of those crescendos, like one of those flags. And when this is going to be displayed, I think they're going to be light upon darkness. At least we understand, and it's illegal. You be violent with your partner, with your husband, with your wife. It's just unacceptable. Country's going to come to a point that said it's just violent is unacceptable. There has to be some type of dialogue and respect to find a way to live in harmony and peace. And I think those are the next steps that we will start seeing our future generation. And I'm just, taking my ways. The more we promote it, the more we nurture it, the more we have the opportunity to expand this and plant the seed. And from the seed, there are going to be a lot of beautiful trees and fruits out of it.
I love that. Thank you very much for that. So let's talk about what's next for you. Tell us about some future projects, some exhibits that you have going on, and where people can come out to support and further the mission of peace and unity through art.
Thank you. Everybody's welcome to come to the gallery events. We do different type of gatherings. We do art shows, and everything's in my website. Basically, it's ehsan.art instead of ehsan.com.art. Anybody can come anytime, set up a time to come and visit, have a private viewing or public viewing, and all this information is in there. Right now, we are doing a lot of community building. Some of them are already coming in right now. And from there, our next step is to hire the dream team to really take this virtually, and we are talking with some potential investors and some people who want to be benefactors and so forth, and sponsors. Anybody welcome. We're open to that. Anybody want to be part of this is welcome. By just coming and sharing this message and collecting and connect us with some people that can take this to the next level, all are welcome, because I can only imagine when we display these 2000 paintings for the first time, what kind of impact and how many hearts will be touched. And it's going to be a beginning of something new, a new river towards this ocean of global peace.
Do you have a location for that installation, or you still think, is it going to be a traveling installation?
We have found some lands. Our three-step is build a brand. Second is acquire the land, and a build first Unity and Peace Center. So right now we're on the first step right now. Okay. We are looking at a bigger headquarters in Newport Beach. It's going to be, right now, this is like a smaller gallery at 1,200. We're going to get an 18,000 square footage of a building that we're going to have a lot of activities with the art and social networking and promoting. And that is our next step. In the
Wonderful.
next couple of years or so, we will identify that land. We have looked some lands. There's anywhere from here all the way to Hawaii, all the way to desert, all the way to Vegas. I still don't know. I really believe that will be done. The more I just say, you decide, it will just anything that organically and divinely happens. I know he's running the show, and I better stay away. I keep trying to stay in the passenger seat in the back because this has been incredible ride, and I believe that every one of us, when we do that, amazing things gonna blossom.
You're preaching now, Ehsan. Well, thank you so very much for this time. We at the Shiloh Institute are so excited to continue to foster this relationship as we both are seeking peace for our globe, our world, our friends, our neighbors. And so you can follow uh, Ehsan.art for more details about his work. And also, I would encourage you to go to our website, ceaseforpeacenow.com. That's cease, the number four, peacenow.com, and take the pledge and go ahead and send it out to one of your friends and family members so that one by one we can affect someone for peace, for global good. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.